You're one of those guys. We've had a kind of a slew of you on recently of people whose names come up a lot in these conversations, just because you've got, you're dealing with a lot of people that you've been working, whether it's playing guitar as a sideman, whether it's
and I'm not organized at all, so it's so hard.
Yeah.
I forget what I'm doing so often.
One of the reasons I think your name has been coming up so much, one, you're just a fucking great musician and a great guy, but you've been doing a lot of producing recently. That's kind of been a big part of your life. First of all, when did that start? When did the production side of things start for you? And two, do you like doing it?
Man, I love it. Like it's I didn't know. I never thought that I wanted to be a producer or that would be something I would enjoy. But I loved knowing that certain producers made records that I loved, and I've always just loved listening to albums. And then when I first met Hannah and we were working on her album, I just realized that like I needed to produce this to get it done. Mm-hmm. And so I did her record first, her first record, and then I produced my record. And then we went back to do another Hannah album. I guess back in 22, we cut an EP first and then did a full record. And then that record went well. And I just figured that I was like able to do this because I was playing guitar with her and like enjoyed being in the studio. But then Eliza Thorn asked me to produce her album. So that was the first time somebody had come in outside of something I normally worked on to like work on a record with them. And I had such a great experience, like digging into songs with her and like trying to figure out who would really fit on this or what instrumentation would work. And then hers and Hannah's albums came out around the same time. And then I got a call from Dennis Crouch. And he told me, this was Christmas a year ago, so Christmas in 23. Mm-hmm. I was at home and I got a call from Dennis, and I don't think it was Christmas Day, but it was like the 23rd or something. I'd already gone home. And he was like, hey, I've been hanging out with Meg, and she said that y'all had gotten together and written some songs, or you'd helped her write on some songs, and she wants me to produce this album. But she kept bringing your name up, so I figured that we could produce it together. Mm-hmm. So he had me produce Meg's album with her, and we kind of both took different roles and kind of talked about, Basically, I just listened to whatever he told me because I'm the biggest Dennis Crouch fan you'll ever
As
meet.
You should be, honestly. As you should be.
And if y'all don't know who Dennis Crouch is, he's I think Nashville's greatest upright bass player of all time.
Just an absolute animal.
Yeah, and he's been on a million records.
I would love to have him in here. I'd love to pick his brain.
Y'all should get him on here, man. He would be so cool to talk to.
Do you find when you are producing, is it scratching the same part of your brain as when you're as a performer, or is it something different?
It's totally different. Producing my own record is my least enjoyable production job I've had.
Okay.
It's really hard to get outside myself and try to see myself as the artist the way that I get to work with other people when it's not my own work, not my own project. And so I've gotten lucky that a lot of close friends that I respect have helped me out with my record and let me get their input and ideas off of it as I've produced this thing. But when I'm working with somebody else, I really get to just go, how would I like to hear this artist? What would I like to, what would I like this song to give? Like, where would I like to hear this thing? And I've loved every record I've got to work on. Just recently, and y'all had Meg Farrell, Sweet Meg, on your podcast, and her record, I just listened to it last night from top to bottom after the master came out, and it's just turned out so beautiful and so cool, and so much of like her is in it in the rawest way possible, and I felt like we really captured a lot of cool stuff that like I'm getting a producer credit, but I feel like I was just kind of along for the ride. And I'm like, yes, like this is nice. So
that's good though. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and getting to work with, especially Dennis and all the amazing players that he's introduced me to. A lot of them coming from the T-Bone Burnett camp. Mm-hmm. like Rachel Moore mixed it, and she worked under T-Bone. And then Russ Paul is on both of our records, and so is Jeff Taylor, and he's on the Melissa Carper albums, and Chris Gelb played drums on both of them. He's an incredible drummer, and like I learned that I play so much better when I get to be around these guys. Like I'll try to figure out the stuff later that I did in the moment. I'm like, oh man, like I can't do this.
That's
again.
the best way. That's the best way I think to play is when you're around people that are that good. It does raise the caliber of your own playing, and I do find that if you are present, and you obviously have to put the time in and just have the ability to reach those places. But that's the best playing, I think, is when people are forced to. They'll come up with shit.
I think the best way, like one of the best ways to get better, is playing with people who are better than you.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'll make you level up real quick.
Did that person in that clip seem cool enough for you to listen to their music? If so, go to our main channel, subscribe there, and you can watch performances from all of our guests.